All right, shut your mouths a minute and listen. You lot missed a good one. So the crew gets called in by Lord Elric Thorne himself, all dressed up in worry and pride, sitting there like a man trying not to admit his city's halfway to madness. Folk laughing in the streets, forgetting their own names, crying one minute, cackling the next. River water's gone bad and nobody knows why. So he makes the offer, 1,000 platinum to get to the bottom of it and put a stop to it. And, well, that was enough to get boots moving. So off they went through the city, asking questions, looking at the sick, hearing the same thing over and over. Common folk going mad. The ones drinking straight from the river getting the worst of it. Doc smelled wrong. Men down there acted wrong too. Nervous, mean. The sort of mean that comes from knowing you're already caught, even if the other side doesn't know it yet. So the party heads down to the docks, and sure enough, they run into a pack of suspicious bastards skulking around where honest men ought to be working. Words were said. Bad words, I'd wager. Then steel came out and started hitting the ground. They didn't kill him, mind you. No, they did it cleaner than that. Beat him down, took him alive, made him talk, and talk they did. Turns out barrels had been dumped in the river. Poison barrels. Not enough to kill a body outright, but enough to turn a town upside down. The dock hands spilled what little they knew. The cargo came off a boat upriver. So now the trail had teeth. The party followed the river up and found the dock. And there she was, the boat, full of the same damned barrels. Black poison sloshing around in enough quantity to ruin a city twice over. That alone would have been enough for most Sellswords to say, there, mystery solved. But this lot kept going. See, from that dock there was a trail, fresh enough to follow, led straight into a cave. Now, if you've lived long enough, you know a cave trail beside poison barrels never leads to anything honest. Sure enough, they follow it in and get jumped. Thugs, veterans, a spellfling or two. Whole lot of hired muscle waiting in the dark. That fight was ugly. Steel in close quarters, magic flashing off stone, men shouting, boots scraping, blood hitting dirt. But in the end, the ambush failed. The hired hands got put down, pinned down, or scared down. Then came the real surprise. Out steps Nicoleta Vasile. Now there's a name that carries weight if you've heard the right stories. Monster hunter, mage, vampire killer, hard-eyed woman with the look of somebody who stopped asking permission a long time ago. She sees what's left of her hired guards and looks at the party like they just kicked down her front door. "What are you doing?" she snaps. "Do you fools have any idea what you've ruined?" And one of the party fires right back. "Ruined? You poisoned a city. We're here to stop you." Nicoleta didn't back down. Not 1 inch. "Stop me? I am trying to save that city." Naturally, that went over about as well as you'd expect. "By driving half the people mad? By keeping them alive," she says. Now that got their attention. So the party presses her, weapons still ready. Nobody trusted nobody. And Nicoleta starts laying it out piece by piece. She tells them the poison isn't meant to kill the townsfolk, says it taints the blood, makes it foul to vampires, says whatever is in the mixture turns the people into bad feeding stock. The laughter, the mania, the memory loss, those are side effects. Ugly ones, cruel ones, but temporary. And then she says the part that changes the room, the city is being fed on, has been for generations. Well, now you can imagine the silence after that. One of them asks, "Fed on by who?" And she answers, plain as rain, the Valnenboobs, the masters of Umberstone Manor, Lord Rimbrawl, his wife Marlura, their household, vampires, all of them. Now maybe some of the crew thought she'd gone mad herself, so they kept pushing. "Why should we believe you?" She gave him this look, cold as winter iron. "Because I already killed one of their kin. Because I tracked the trail back here. Because I've seen the feeding records, the missing servants, the false names, and the same faces surviving far too many decades. Because I spoke to the townsfolk and every rumor pointed uphill, while every coward in power looked the other way." One of the party says, "Then why not tell the city?" And Nicoleta near spits at that. "I did. I told anyone who would listen. They hear vampire and laugh me out of the room. The Valnenbooms own their fear, their trade, their silence. The city is cattle wearing fine clothes and calling itself civilized." That hit hard. Still, the party wasn't ready to just trust her. Not after the poison. Not after the madness in the streets. So they keep at it. If what you're saying is true, why poison innocent people at all? Nicoleta answers. Because hungry vampires make mistakes. Because starved monsters lose control. Because if I cut off the blood, I weaken them. And if I weaken them, they can die. Another asks, and how many innocents suffer while you chase your crusade? At that, she goes quiet for a breath, then says, fewer than would die if the brood remains hidden another 100 years. Now that's the kind of answer that sits heavy. So the party starts leaning toward doing what good folk always do first. Arrest her, drag her back, put irons on her, let the Lord sort it out. When they tell her that, she doesn't beg, doesn't run either. She just says, if you mean to hand me over, then kill me now. I will not go back in chains while they still draw breath. I did not come this far to die in a noble cell while monsters rule from a hill. Strong words that. Then she gives them the choice. Help me finish this, help me kill them. After that, I leave. No reward, no title, no thanks. Just dead vampires in a city that might finally belong to the living. That started the real debate. Back and forth they went. Whether she was a butcher or a savior. Whether her methods damned her. Whether her story made enough sense. Whether the madness in the streets was the lesser evil compared to a nest of hidden vampires feeding for centuries. In the end, they believed enough of it. Maybe not all of it. Maybe not with clean hearts, but enough. So the party agrees. Not to forgive her, not to excuse what she'd done, but to help finish what she started. And with that settled, they head back to the city. Now this next bit matters. They don't tell Lord Thorn the whole truth. No, they tell him they found the source of the tainted water, found the chemicals, found the one responsible. But they say the matter is tied to a greater threat, and turning over the culprit now would endanger the city more than it would help. I can picture the Lord's face too. Tight jaw, eyes narrow, wanting answers and not getting them. So perhaps it went something like this. Lord Thorn says, you found the one behind this, yet you did not bring them to me? And one of the party answers, we found more than that. The poisoning is part of something larger. We need a little more time. Larger than my people going mad in the streets? Larger than you know. We are moving to stop it. Then tell me what threat walks in my city. And the party, careful now, says, when it is finished, we will tell you everything. For now, know this. The poisoner is not acting alone in spirit, even if they acted alone in deed. There is another danger above this one. If we move wrong, more people die. Now, no lord likes being told only half a tale, but gold had changed hands and the work wasn't done yet. So whether by trust, desperation, or lack of better options, he let them go. And that brings us to now. The party has gathered their steel, their holy power, their spells, and what courage they can carry. Nicoleta Vasile stands with them, still sharp as a drawn knife, and together they make for Umberstone Manor, up the hill, into the dark, toward the house where the old blood waits. And that, my friends, is where the story hangs. A poisoned river, a city laughing itself sick, a hunter who became the villain to kill monsters no one would name, and a band of fools brave enough to walk straight into a vampire's front door. So drink while you can, because by tomorrow, White Oak Shire may have new masters or none at all.